You know the moment. Your baby has been crying for what feels like forever. You've checked everything. The diaper, the feed, the temperature. Nothing works. And then you pick them up. And within seconds, sometimes within a single breath, the crying stops. The body relaxes. The little fists unclench. And your baby melts into you like they were always supposed to be there. Most parents chalk it up to neediness. Some worry they're spoiling their child. A few just feel relieved and don't ask any further questions. But what's actually happening in that moment is one of the most sophisticated biological conversations taking place anywhere on Earth. And once you understand it, you will never pick up your crying baby the same way again. Your body is literally medicine. The moment you lift your baby against your chest, their nervous system begins to change. Not metaphorically, physically, measurably. Skin-to-skin contact triggers an immediate release of oxytocin, in your baby and in you, simultaneously. Oxytocin is the same hormone released during birth, during breastfeeding, during moments of deep human bonding. It lowers cortisol, which is the body's primary stress hormone. It slows the heart rate. It reduces blood pressure. It tells the nervous system at a chemical level that the threat is over. Your baby cannot regulate any of this on their own yet. Their stress response system, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, if you want the clinical name, is brand new and completely unfinished. When something overwhelms it, the system floods. Crying is not manipulation. Crying is a distress signal from an immature nervous system that has hit its ceiling. And your body, specifically your body held close, is the only reset button that exists. This is not a parenting philosophy. It is physiology. They can hear your heartbeat, and it sounds like home. Here is something worth sitting with. For the entire duration of your pregnancy, your baby lived inside the sound of your heartbeat, not near it, inside it. That rhythm was the first continuous sensory experience of their existence. It was present before they could see, before they could taste, before they had any frame of reference for the world at all. When you hold your baby against your chest, that sound returns. And the brain, which at this age is making nearly 1 million new neural connections every single second, recognizes it immediately. Not as a memory exactly, as something more fundamental than memory, as the baseline, as what safe sounds like. Studies have shown that premature babies held against a parent's chest show measurably more stable heart rates and oxygen levels than those left in incubators alone. The body of the parent is doing regulatory work that medical equipment cannot fully replicate. That is not a small thing. That is the entire thing. Your movement is doing something specific. Notice what you do instinctively when you pick up a crying baby. You don't. Stand still. Nobody stands still. You sway, you rock, you walk, usually in a slow rhythmic pattern that you didn't consciously choose and couldn't really explain if someone asked. That instinct is ancient, and it is correct. The vestibular system, the part of the inner ear that processes movement and balance, is one of the earliest sensory systems to develop. In the womb, your baby was in constant motion every time you moved, floating, rocking, shifting with every step you took. Stillness, for a newborn, is actually the unfamiliar state. Movement is what they have always known. When you walk and sway with a crying baby, you are replicating the sensory environment they spent 9 months inside. Research has confirmed what parents have always known instinctively. Babies calm faster when carried and moved than when held still. The specific rhythm matters too. Slow and steady, not fast or unpredictable. The nervous system responds to regularity. It is looking for a pattern it can trust. Their body is borrowing your calm. This is the part that most people have never heard, and it changes everything. Newborns and young infants engage in something called physiological co-regulation. Their immature nervous systems are not yet capable of returning to a calm baseline independently after a stress response. They need an external regulated nervous system to borrow from, and the most effective one available is yours. When you hold your baby, your breathing pattern influences theirs. Your heart rate influences theirs. Your body temperature, your muscle tension, even the rhythm of your voice, all of it transmits. A calm, regulated parent holding a distressed baby is not just providing comfort in an emotional sense. They are providing a biological template for the baby's nervous system to sync with and follow back down to baseline. This is why it matters how you feel when you pick them up. A parent who is tense, panicked, or overwhelmed transmits that too. Babies are not reading your thoughts, they are reading your body. Every time, with extraordinary accuracy. So the next time you feel yourself tensing up before you pick up a crying baby, pause for just one breath first. Slow your own system down by 1 degree, then pick them up. You will feel the difference, and so will they. Crying is a language, and being held is the answer to a specific question. Babies cry for many reasons: hunger, pain, overstimulation, tiredness, discomfort. But underneath all of those specific triggers, there is always a more fundamental question being asked. It sounds like this: is anyone there? Am I safe? Will someone come? Being held is not just comfort. It is the answer to that question, delivered in the only language a newborn can receive. Not words, not logic. Presence, warmth, rhythm, smell, sound. Your scent alone is a powerful part of this. Newborns can identify their primary caregiver by smell within the first few days of life. When you hold your baby close and they bury their face into your neck or your chest, they are not just seeking warmth, they are orienting, confirming you smell like safety, because you have always smelled like safety. That association began forming before they were born. You are not spoiling them, you are building them. The fear of creating a baby who needs to be held is one of the most persistent anxieties in early parenting, and it is worth addressing directly. The research is consistent and has been for decades. Responding promptly and warmly to a baby's cries does not create dependency. It creates security. Babies who are held and responded to reliably in the early months show greater independence later, not less. Because independence is not built by withholding comfort. It is built by providing so much of it so consistently that the child's nervous system internalizes the message and eventually no longer needs external confirmation to feel safe. Every time you pick up your crying baby and they stop, something is being laid down in the architecture of their developing brain. A circuit that says, distress is temporary, help arrives, the world responds, I am not alone. That circuit will still be there when they are 2 and 5 and 15. It will shape how they handle stress, how they form relationships, how they recover from difficulty. It begins here, in this moment, with you picking them up. What to do when it doesn't work. Of course, there are times when none of it works, when you hold them and walk and sway and sing, and they keep crying. And you are exhausted and overwhelmed, and you cannot find the bottom of it. Those moments are real, and they are hard, and they deserve honesty. Sometimes babies cry because they are in pain. Reflux, gas, colic, an ear infection, and holding helps but does not resolve it. Sometimes they are overstimulated and need holding in a quieter, darker, less stimulating environment. Sometimes the nervous system is so flooded that it simply needs time to cycle through, and all you can do is stay present and keep your own system as regulated as you can manage. And sometimes you need to put them down safely, step outside the room for 60 seconds, and breathe. That is not failure. That is recognizing that a dysregulated adult cannot co-regulate a dysregulated baby, and giving yourself the reset you need before you go back in. You are not a machine. You are a nervous system too. So tonight, when your baby cries and you pick them up and the crying stops, don't brush past that moment. Don't treat it as a problem solved and move on. Recognize what just happened. Your heartbeat reached their heartbeat. Your calm became their calm. Your presence told their nervous system something it needed to hear, in the only language it currently speaks. You didn't just stop the crying, you built something. Quietly, invisibly, and permanently. That's what holding them does, every single time.